Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I am Tina Jha. You're watching House Highlights, where we take you through the day's proceedings in both houses of parliament, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. As always, let's begin with the headlines. Lok Sabha passes Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022. Home Minister Amit Shah says, bill after studying several provisions used for convictions across the world. 6 new members of Assam, Kerala and Nagaland take oath of membership of the Rajya Sabha. The upper house adjourned for the day following opposition protests over the issue of fuel price hike. And issues of public importance raised during zero hour in the Lok Sabha. The Lok Sabha on Monday passed the Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022. Replying to the discussion on the bill, Home Minister Amit Shah asserted that the Criminal Procedure Identification Bill will act as defender of human rights of crores of law-abiding citizens. He added that the government's intention to bring the bill is to strengthen the law and order and internal security of the country. Listen in.
क्राइम भी बदल गए, क्रिमिनल भी बदल गए। क्राइम और क्रिमिनल दोनों आधुनिक तकनीक से लैस होकर क्रिमिनल क्राइम करने लगे और पुलिस को हम आधुनिक तकनीक से लैस न करें। किसी को हाथ पैर बांधकर स्विमिंग पूल में डाल दो कि भैया गोल्ड मेडल लेकर आओ। गोल्ड मेडल क्या, वो तो बेचारा डूब जाएगा क्योंकि आपने हाथ पैर बांध दिए हैं। इस प्रकार की व्यवस्था देश में अब नहीं चलती। दादा को भले लगता हो जल्दी हो गई है, मुझे लगता है बहुत देर हो गई। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, समय आ गया है कि इसको हम बदले और इसके लिए सिर्फ ये बिल नहीं है, ढेर सारे प्रयास भारतीय जनता पार्टी की नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार ने किया। ठीक कहा अधीर रंजन जी ने कि हमारे देश में फॉरेंसिक साइंस का कुशल मानव संसाधन नहीं है, हमारे पास ट्रेन मैन फोर्स नहीं है, परंतु इसको कैसे बढ़ाओगे? किसी ने चिंता किया? हमने चिंता किया। मोदी जी जब मुख्यमंत्री थे गुजरात के, तब विश्व की सबसे पहली गुजरात फॉरेंसिक साइंस यूनिवर्सिटी बनाने का था और मोदी जी जब प्रधानमंत्री बने तब उन्होंने नेशनल फॉरेंसिक साइंस यूनिवर्सिटी बनाने का काम किया।
Asserting that the BJP does not indulge in vote bank politics, Amit Shah said the Prevention of Terrorism Act was a law in the national interest and was repealed for the sake of appeasement. The bill seeks to provide legal sanction to the police to take physical and biological samples of convicts as well as persons accused of crimes.
130 करोड़ लोग देख रहे हो, उस वक्त इतनी शंकाएं उत्पन्न कर किसी कानून के लिए आशंका खड़ा कर देना। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, मैं इससे सहमत नहीं। आशंका जरूर खड़ी की जाए, आधार के आधार पर हो। इसका कोई आधार हो? कहने लगे यूएपीए, कौन लेकर आया यूएपीए? कुछ एक सदस्य ने कहा यूएपीए अमेंडमेंट आप लेकर आए, उसका क्या मिसयूज हुआ हमारे समय? मैं आज भी कहता हूं कि पोटा देश हित का कानून था, एपीसमेंट में इसको रद्द किया गया। मुझे कोई संकोच नहीं है बोलने में। हम वोट बैंक की पॉलिटिक्स नहीं करते साहब, हम राजनीति में देश को सुरक्षित करने के लिए आए, देश को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए आए, देश में दुनिया में सर्वोच्च स्थान पर ले जाने। हमने कभी पॉलिटिक्स नहीं की। कितने भी कठोर कानून, ये यूएपीए में अमेंडमेंट चिदंबरम साहब लेकर आए, हमने सपोर्ट किया था। एनआईए का हमने सपोर्ट किया था, हम भी ऑपोजिशन में बैठते थे, हमने कभी विरोध नहीं किया था। परंतु शंकाएं खड़ी कर एक धूमिल टाइप का एक शंका का बादल बना देना देश भर के अंदर, जिसे कानून पर श्रद्धा न हो, ये मुझे लगता है ठीक नहीं है।
Initiating the discussion on the bill, Manish Tiwari of the Congress raised questions over the intentions of the bill and demanded for referring it to the Standing Committee for wider consultations. Members cutting across party lines took part in the discussion. Let's listen in.
राज्यसभा में 238 में से 238 सीट भी मिल जाए, जो विधानसभाएं हैं उन विधानसभाओं में 2/3 बहुमत भी मिल जाए, कि 2/3 जो विधानसभाएं हैं वो एक राजनीतिक दल के पास हैं, फिर भी इस संविधान के कुछ ऐसे अंश हैं जिनको यह सदन नहीं बदल सकता, जिनको उन्होंने बेसिक फीचर्स करार दिया था। और जो आपके मूलभूत अधिकार है, जो संविधान की चैप्टर 3 में पार्ट 3 में उसको दर्ज किया गया है, उसको उच्चतम न्यायालय ने यह बेसिक फीचर करार दिया था। आज जो ये विधेयक आया है, वो जो मूलभूत अधिकार हैं, उन मूलभूत अधिकारों की अवमानना करता है।
इसके पहले लॉ कमीशन ने यह भी कहा था कि पहचान के उद्देश्य से एकत्र किए जाने वाले मेजरमेंट को सीमित नहीं रखा जा सकता है और वैज्ञानिक ज्ञान का फायदा लेते हुए मेजरमेंट की श्रेणियों को निरंतर बढ़ते रहने की आवश्यकता है। विधि आयोग ने यह भी कहा था कि अपराधों के संबंध में इस तरह के सबूत एकत्र करने की आवश्यकता हो सकती है, उनका विस्तार करने की आवश्यकता हो सकती है और जिन व्यक्तियों का मेजरमेंट लिया जाना है उनके भी दायरे को विस्तृत किया जा सकता है।
The present occupancy is at 4,88,511, sir. Whereas we have nearly 120% capacity, 20% over capacity, sir. Out of this, sir, the convicted people are only 1,12,589. The people are going under trials is 3,71,848. Literally, sir, 70% of the people who are in the prison are under trials. Basically, sir, they have not got an opportunity to go argue for themselves, and preferably, sir, the punishment for the offences committed for them would have been petty. They are still overstaying in the jail.
The Speaker has addressed me. I have accepted it. This law is being proposed in the absence of any overreaching data protection law, which India so desperately needs today. 5 years ago, we mentioned the data protection law. It is still not being brought in. You are saying that there has been advance of technology in the last decade, which is why we need to repeal it. But with the advance of technology, there is a flip side. The state has even greater powers of surveillance. So when we in this House authorize any legal expansion of the ambit of these powers, we need to ensure that these powers can be controlled, can be regulated. The old act was only photographs and fingerprints. Now you've added retina, you've added biological samples, behavioral. So we are signing off, basically all of us, on much greater powers of the state. So we need to put in very solid safeguards. This bill has no such safeguards. The malefides of this bill are apparent not only in the unconstitutional provisions it seeks to enforce, but it seeks to blur out all distinction, any and all distinction between an under trial, a detainee, a suspect, and a convict.
मानवता के ऊपर आघात करने वाला ये बिल इस सदन में पास होना यानी इंसानियत का क्रूर ठट्टा हो सकती है, इंसानियत नष्ट होने वाली ये बिल है। इसलिए इस बिल को हम शिवसेना की तरफ से विरोध कर रहे हैं। सभापति महोदय, एक मौलिक अधिकार संविधान के माध्यम से अपने देश में सारे इंसान को प्राप्त हुआ है, लेकिन आजकल एक मौलिक अधिकार जो है वो रहे नहीं है। मौलिक अधिकार के ऊपर हर एक तरीके से आक्रमण करना, अतिक्रमण करना, कई एजेंसियों का दुरुपयोग करके लोगों को परेशान करना, ये जिस तरीके से आज हो रहा है, और इसीलिए अधिकार में या कानून में जब बदलाव करना चाहते हैं सरकार के माध्यम से, तो उसके दुष्परिणाम जो होने वाले उसकी भी चिंता करने की आवश्यकता है। सभापति महोदय,
The government should give proper comfort. It should convince, the Honorable Home Minister should convince the whole House that this bill will not be used for political witch hunt, and also the DNA profiling also, which is a sensitive thing, should be purely used for serious crimes and other counter-terrorism purposes only. And there's another important question, sir. How safe is the data which is being collected? The data should not be misused, and Honorable Home Minister should give a proper methodology or a way where he can assure that this data will not be misused.
Already the standing committee has given its report to the government. It is still pending. These two major bills, if it would have come to the House to be passed, then it would have been easier for us to accept the provisions that are there in this bill. I think the government may think over it. Back in 1980, sir, the Law Commission of India in its 87th report and the Supreme Court in a judgment titled State of Uttar Pradesh versus Ram Babu Mishra had nearly simultaneously suggested the need to amend the statute.
This is the total clear violation of the fundamental rights enshrined in Part 3 of the Constitution, number 1. And number 2, the right to privacy ensured by the Supreme Court in Puttaswamy's case is totally violated.
एक हेड कांस्टेबल जो है वो अगर चाहेगा तो आपका पूरा जो है प्रोफाइल आइडेंटिफिकेशन प्रोफाइल वो कर सकता है। अरे डाटा प्रोटेक्शन बिल अभी आया नहीं, आज कंट्रडिक्शन है। मैं तो देखता हूं सब डाटा प्रोटेक्शन की क्या हालत है। मेरे ख्याल से मेरा, क्योंकि मैं एक मोबाइल रखता हूं और वही सरकारी है वही प्राइवेट है, उसी पे सबसे बात होती है, पता नहीं दिन में कितनी कॉल मार्केटिंग कॉल आ जाती है।
I hope we don't make some legislation which in a few days is struck by the Honorable Supreme Court. So I think let's make I'm not taking away from the intention of this government. I'm sure that the intention is very, very good. And even from the state where I come from, we are completely open to doing these identification tests. We support it. But how far we want to go is the question we need to ask ourselves.
जो डरता है वो ये चीज़ को अगेंस्ट में बोलता है। मुझे लगता है डर के कारण ये सब चीज़ें बाहर निकल रही है। Because in recent times, Mahua, my friend, she spoke in a very aggressive this thing. She was very against for this bill. पर मुझे लगता है अगर कुछ चीज़ें लोगों को न्याय देने के लिए ये देश में अगर काम करना चाहिए, कुछ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस आनी चाहिए, कुछ सख्ताई आनी चाहिए, तो हर नियम और कायदे में ये सख्ताई लानी बहुत ज़रूरी है। तब जाके क्राइम और क्रिमिनल्स हमारे देश में कम होंगे। ये इसका सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण है।
हम पाकिस्तान के, हम विदेशी टेररिस्ट जो इस देश को खत्म करना चाहते हैं, कमजोर करना चाहते हैं, उनकी साजिश का भंडाफोड़ करने के लिए यदि हम पोटा लेकर आए तो आप हमको कहते हैं कि हम गलत काम करने के लिए आ गए। आपने पोटा और टाडा सबको रिपील कर दिया 2004 में, लेकिन हमारा कानून सही था।
अभी भी हमारे देश में जो फोरेंसिक लेबोरेटरी है, यहाँ हम कितने फोरेंसिक करते हैं बताइए। कोर्ट में रोजाना हमें फटकार लेना पड़ता है। कोर्ट रोजाना हमें फटकार देते हैं कि लेबोरेटरी की रिपोर्ट कहाँ गया, रिपोर्ट कहाँ गया, हम नहीं दे सकते। आप यहाँ अमेरिका की बात करते हैं, यूके की बात करते हैं, यहाँ तो हिंदुस्तान से ज्यादा बाहर की बात करते हैं। तो मैं अमेरिका की बात करते हैं। अमेरिका में डीएनए इंडेक्सिंग के लिए जो स्टोरेज की एक्सेस है, जो स्टोरेज की फैसिलिटी है, ये बिल में नहीं है, हमारा देश में नहीं है। तो डीएनए इंडेक्सिंग की स्टोरेज की एक्सेस क्या है, ये बिल में कहां ये प्रावधान है बताइए।
Talking about the question hour in the Lok Sabha today, Ernakulam MP raised a question on MICE tourism in Kerala. Now, MICE is an acronym used to group together the 4 tourism types, namely meetings, incentive travel, conferences and exhibitions. So in a reply on declining investments by the foreign investors by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman informed the House that India continues to remain the highest receiver of FDI.
The beautiful backwaters and many other infrastructure facilities, we have a lot of convention centers as well. Can the central government of India make a policy to develop MICE in southern part of India, especially where tourism is flourishing? And this can be a detailed project whereby not just meetings and exhibitions can happen. They can also explore the local revenue of the localites, eat local food and promote the tourism industry as well. Will the government take necessary steps for this?
Definitely. अध्यक्ष महोदय, ऐसा सदस्य ने कहा है, पॉलिसी बनती है किसी पार्ट ऑफ कंट्री, ऐसा नहीं, पॉलिसी बनेगी पूरी देश के लिए। और निश्चित तौर से मैं आपको एश्योर करता हूं कि साउथ के ऊपर ज़्यादा ध्यान दिया जाएगा, क्योंकि यहाँ ऐसे इंटरेस्टेड जो टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशन है उसको डेवलप करना है, वो हम निश्चित तौर से करेंगे।
I'm sorry to say that overseas investors have pulled out a net 1,14,856 crores from the Indian markets in the current year so far. Foreign portfolio investors have sold domestic equities worth 48,261 crores, sir. And this is the 6th straight month
that foreign institutional investors have withdrawn from their positions in the Indian equity market, a trend which may unfortunately be exacerbated by the US interest rate hikes and the commodity price hikes, particularly of crude oil. Would the Honourable Minister care to explain the worrying trend of steadily declining investment by foreign portfolio investors in our country, and whether the government is taking any measures to rectify this current trend in the market? What specific thing can be done to reverse something which has been steadily worsening for 6 months, sir? It's a very serious question about the investment in our country that we need for our economy to grow.
Sir, investments will have to be gauged not just by looking at FIIs and FPIs, which by very nature depend on the interest rates, and also they keep moving up and down. I'm sure senior member who's held positions abroad will understand that FIIs and FPIs can be very tempted by interest rates elsewhere and prospects anywhere else as well. But FPIs and FIIs are obviously going to be very typical of their very nature, coming in and going out. But what has got to be looked at, and with fairness and objectivity, is the inflow of FDIs, which is remaining unabated. And India is the highest receiver of FDI since before COVID, and that continues during COVID, in fact continues very much significantly during COVID and subsequently also. It is that which indicates if the money which is coming in is staying invested in this country, thereby creating jobs and prospects for us, and not by indicating only the FIIs and FPIs. One last bit, sir. FIIs and FPIs may come and go, but today Indian retail investors have proven that even if they come and go, any shock that may come is now taken care of because of the shock absorbing capacity the Indian retailer has brought into Indian market. I think we as a house should stand up and appreciate the Indian retailer who's invested a lot of confidence in the stock markets today in India.
So that was about the question hour. Now, during the 0 hour in the Lok Sabha, issues of various public importance were raised. So let's take a look at some of them.
राजस्थान के अनेक स्थानों पर जानबूझकर इस प्रकार के उपद्रवी असामाजिक तत्वों ने शांतिपूर्वक निकल रहे जुलूस के ऊपर पथराव किया गया। और अभी कुछ दिनों पूर्व ही सालासर बालाजी में एक राम दरबार की मूर्ति को तोड़ा गया चित्तौड़गढ़ में, और राजस्थान के ऐसे कई स्थानों पर मंदिरों को निशाना बनाया गया। मेरा आपके माध्यम से सरकार से मांग है, एक तरफ सरकार पूरे देश भर में और अयोध्या में प्रभु श्री राम का मंदिर बन रहा है, देश भर में कई जगह, इवन अबू धाबी में भी भगवान का मंदिर बन रहा है, लेकिन राजस्थान की सरकार जानबूझकर धार्मिक स्थानों को तोड़ने का और निशाना बनाने के काम कर रही है। इवन उनका जो प्रशासन है, शासन है, वहां बहन बेटियां रात को शाम को निकल नहीं सकती।
I am talking about Budagajangam community, also called as Beda community. The community was recognized as scheduled caste in Part 1 of the Constitution in SC and ST Act 1976. It was listed at serial number 19 in undivided Andhra Pradesh scheduled caste list. Also, it is listed in Karnataka scheduled caste list at number 98. Yet the community is denied the benefit of SC reservation. Most of them are wandering job seekers, and many of them survive by storytelling profession called Jangamakatalu. They are in the lowest stratum of the society, both socially and economically. They stay far away from villages and in temporary shelters. They are often humiliated by untouchability. So many committees like Lokur Commission, Ramchandra Rao Commission, Usha Mehra Commission, and Motilal Commission have confirmed their presence in 13 districts of Andhra Pradesh. But in AP Reorganization Act 2014, Budagajanga community was removed from the scheduled caste list. This is one of the consequences of unfair division of Andhra Pradesh. Sir, this is the final punch on the poor and marginalized Budagajangams, which has crippled and pushed them to the corner of the society. They are feeling that injustice is meted out to them and is against the vision of father of Indian Constitution, Dr. Ambedkar, and father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Sir, I request the government of India to consider the long pending demand of Budagajangams for inclusion in SC list.
The developmental activities during the last 75 years, sir. If the land used for the construction of roads and free space of 1.5 meters stipulated from the edge of the road and the 20 meters NTZ surrounding the islands is taken into consideration, 50% of the lands in few islands have already been lost by the inhabitants. All the above notifications are without following the caudal formalities of the Land Acquisition and Rehabilitation Act 2013 and Integrated Island Management Plan. Therefore, I urge upon the government, the Home Ministry and the Tribal Affairs Ministry to take note on this issue against the Scheduled Tribe Community Act's Atrocities Act, Union Territory of Lakshadweep, and please intervene to stop such proposal where the scheduled tribes' lands are being acquired unnecessarily.
Moving on, let's now take a look at what happened in the upper house today. Rajya Sabha was adjourned for the day following uproar by opposition parties over the issue of hike in fuel prices. When the House met after the second adjournment at 2 p.m., opposition members, including the Congress, TMC, the left parties, and also the DMK, once again tried to raise the issue, citing their adjournment notices. Amid noisy scenes, the deputy chairman tried to run the House, but in vain. Later, the House was adjourned for the day. Earlier as well, the House had witnessed 2 adjournments due to opposition protests on the issue of hike in the price of petroleum products. When the House met for the day, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu disallowed the adjournment notices moved by members from Congress, TMC, Left and DMK over this particular issue, saying they had had enough opportunity to raise it during the discussion on the finance bill earlier. 6 newly elected Rajya Sabha members from Assam, Kerala and Nagaland took oath in the upper house on Monday. They are Pabitra Margarita and S. Fangon Konyak of the BJP, Ruangra Nirzari of the UPPL, P. Santosh Kumar of the CPI, A. Rahim of CPIM and J.B. Mother Hisham of the Congress Party.
I, J.B. Mehta Hisham, having been elected a member of the Council of States, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and that I will faithfully discharge the duty upon which I am about to enter.
A. Rahim, having been elected a member of the Council of States, do solemnly affirm that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and that I will faithfully discharge the duty upon which I am about to enter.
I, S. Fangon Konyak, having been elected a member of the Council of States, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and that I will faithfully discharge the duty upon which I am about to enter.
And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you for your time.